Peoples, top of the morning. It is Sunday, December 24th, and I am here with your geopolitical news. Today's Christmas Eve. For any of you that celebrate, any of my followers that celebrate, Merry Christmas to you. Al Jazeera reports Israel Hamas war live. 166 Palestinians killed in the last 24 hours. Health Ministries in Gaza says 166 Palestinians killed, 384 wounded in Israeli attacks in the last 24 hours. UNRWA says it cannot deliver meaningful aid under intense Israeli bombardments of Gaza after the UN Security Council called for increased access. So, what you can gather is that the UN Security Council has been asking for more access to be able to send aid into the Gaza Strip, and the Israeli military has been denying that access. And as you can see, you know, just in a matter of hours, you can see how the death toll rises just in a matter of hours. In other geopolitical news, Al Jazeera reports U.S. says Houthi drone shot down as UK brands Iran malign influence. UK Foreign Secretary David Cameron says escalating attacks by Iran-backed groups cannot be tolerated. So, that image right there comes from a video where Houthi rebels seized I think this is a cargo ship that they seized, but there's a video floating around of them actually doing it. You understand? Of them actually landing on the cargo ship with weapons, whatever may have you, and them actually taking over the cargo ship. Now, I don't believe anyone was hurt in this seizure, but nonetheless, it did happen. Nonetheless, there are attacks happening on the Red Sea. The United States has announced that it shot down 4 drones launched by Yemen's Houthis, as the United Kingdom's top diplomats brand the rebel group's ally Iran a malign influence. The USS Laboon guided missile destroyer downed the drones as they were traveling towards the vessel, and there were no injuries or damage, the U.S. Central Command said on Saturday. Since this is an opinion-based show, I will give my opinion on the matter. How I feel about what the Houthi rebels, what Hezbollah are doing in response to what the Israeli military is doing in Palestine, in the Gaza Strip. Do I feel that they're right? Can two wrongs make a right? So these are the questions that one would have to ask themselves when they're covering, viewing, or receiving any information about this topic, this situation. So, how I feel about it is, you know, once again, for the whole world to be basically in solidarity. I mean, the whole world. There's certain pockets of places that are not. But as it relates to the world on a global scale, the whole world is asking for a ceasefire. And so, as it relates to that, when you bring that into contrast and you see that there is no ceasefire happening, well, other things are going to happen. People will not just sit and tolerate what you're doing. They won't just keep sitting around and allowing it. So, the United States of America and its Western allies, they've been trying their hardest to keep this region from exploding, because they know very well that the way that they are conducting themselves right now, they know that that is almost an absolution. The possibilities are endless because of your actions. So no, I would say that I stand on the side of the Houthi rebels not being wrong. You understand? Like, I seen the video of them, basically seizing the cargo ship, and in the video, as dangerous, as scared as the people probably were, I didn't see anyone being hurt. And so it's clear to me that this is about this is a message being sent, rather than to terrorize and to hurt, kill, or maim anyone. And so that's what I took from the Houthi rebels and what they're doing in the Red Sea. In other geopolitical news, Al Jazeera reports anger in Kashmir after Indian army accused of killing civilians in custody. The families of victims said their bodies bore torture signs as anger grows against the killing in Indian administered Kashmir. The deaths of 3 Kashmir civilians after they were picked up by the Indian army in the wake of a deadly rebel attack in the disputed Himalayan region have caused anger among people and led to calls for an investigation into alleged custodial killings. And so, as you could see from, what's going on, even in this story right here, it seems to be like some tit for tat thing with the government and these regimes around the world, where an incident happened with the Indian army the day previously, where they were attacked, and I believe 3 or 4 members of the Indian army were killed. And so it seems like this is retaliatory. This seems like it's in retaliation. And so they go out, they pick up whoever they pick up, they round up individuals, but these three individuals in particular were picked up, and now they are no longer with us. You understand? And this is within a 24-hour span. So what happened in 24 hours where an incident happened with the Indian military, members of the Indian military were injured and lost their lives. And 24 hours later, 3 men who are classified as civilians were not only detained by the Indian military, but now they are deceased. And so this is, like I said, when you go from region to region and you're covering these geopolitical topics, this news, these current events, there's certain examples that stand out to you, and they almost kind of mimic each other, where something happens and then the response is very egregious. The response is despicable. You understand? All under the the guise of self-defense. And so, yeah, these things are happening all around the world. Now, here's another situation that's happening in India. Who knows if this will spark, you know, a civil war, because there's already civil unrest. So who knows? But my heart goes out to the families of these civilians that were killed. Like I said, 3 civilians were killed by the Indian military. This is a day after the Indian military was attacked themselves, and I believe that they lost soldiers. And so this is a deadly response. In other geopolitical news, Al Jazeera reports sanctions on Russia's oil have failed. Were they ever meant to succeed? Western sanctions imposed a year ago have hardly dented Russia's ability to wage war. So, you know, I said this a few weeks back. Not only is Russia absolutely crushing Ukraine, but the sanctions imposed by the West and its allies have absolutely it has not done anything to Russia. It may have dented the economy for a period of time, but Russia is bouncing back stronger than ever. You see, because there are other countries, there are other places on planet Earth that fall under the same scrutiny of the West and its allies as it relates to weaponizing currency. And so these other countries, they're banding together. You have the BRICS nations now. So these other countries are figuring out ways to get around the sanctions. And pretty soon we'll be moving to a place where sanctions will mean absolutely nothing. They will mean nothing. And so what will you do then when your sanctions don't work? What will you do when you sanction a nation, a country, a regime, and it effectively does not work? Not only does it not work, but that said country, the economy grows stronger from other relationships that it forges through the atmosphere of being sanctioned. So this is something, this is something to think about. Is the West and its allies really hurting Russia? Right now, I just switched to the X platform, formerly known as Twitter. The Iran Observer posts breaking: amid high tensions in the region, Iran has deployed a new anti-ship cruise missile that operates with artificial intelligence and has a range of 1,000 kilometers. The cruise missile is capable of changing targets during its travel and avoid enemy radars. So now, this is new equipment that's being rolled out by Iran. And since I've been covering these geopolitical topics, I've realized that Iran and Russia have a very unique relationship. And so, the same way that the United States supplies Israel with weapons is the same way that Russia supplies Iran with weapons. And so these are things to take into account because the world stage is very big. And sometimes when you come from a certain country, you only focus on the things that go on inside your said country. And so you don't know the things that's you're not privy to the things that's happening on the world stage. You're not privy to the relationships that's being forged on the world stage when other relationships end. And so I would advise all of us to pay close attention to not just what's happening on the world stage, but what members of your country, as it relates to Congress and the military industrial complex, pay attention to what they're doing. Pay attention to their movements around the world, because then you'll be informed. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about this. Did you know about any of these stories? Once again, for those of you that follow, for those of you that are subscribed, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year's to you. We're all welcoming a safe 2024. Always remember, stay vigilant, stay safe. Peace.